So it's Christmas Eve 2013. I've just bought my first house with my girlfriend Jessie. We've only been dating a year. We're inviting family over for to celebrate the holiday and our new house and just to be with family. My mom can't make it this year. She's too sick. She has this mysterious illness, this chronic illness that nobody seems to be able to figure out, but she can't make the car ride. My dad tells me he's going to arrive a few hours early. He has some news for me. They figured out what's wrong with her, he says, and he just gets straight to it. She has Huntington's disease. It's a degenerative brain disease. It's fatal. There's no cure. And so I'm reeling at this point. It's devastating to hear. And then I get the knockout punch. You and your brother have a 50-50 chance of inheriting it as well. It's hereditary. I put on a brave face. I think we both do. We try to keep that stoic, masculine, brave face thing going on. But I run upstairs afterwards, and I talk to Jessie, and through tears in my eyes, I try to explain what I've just learned, and she's shocked, bewildered, has no idea what to say. She asks if we want to cancel dinner and just kind of process what we're going through. And I say no. I think I want to be with family tonight. I was probably an awful host that night. My brain was totally somewhere else. But I was really glad that everybody still came, and it was a good dinner. I knew right away that I wanted to get tested to find out if I had the HD gene. I was 27 years old, just bought this house, got a serious girlfriend, trying to figure out what's going to go happen in my life. And, I just needed to know. I needed to have this information to just plan my life, to know what to do. And so a couple months later, I found myself in the waiting room at the genetic counselor's office. My head was, in the clouds, worrying. And Jessie is very perceptive. She notices the genetic counselor walk by a couple of times with a very, very disturbed look on her face. She looked like someone who was about to give some bad news. And she was. She gave it to me straight there, and I practically ran out of the room. I couldn't be around people. I had to get out of there. And so we went home, and I spent the rest of the day with her, and we worked through it. A few years later, we're married, and we decide we want to have kids. I think for all the normal reasons that people want to have kids, but also just because, frankly, if this is something that we're going to be dealing with, and it's something that I may end up succumbing to, I wanted to leave something behind for her, like a family. We wanted to do whatever we could to protect our children from HD. We wanted to make sure that no matter how we did it, and there's a lot of ways, we wanted to protect them from it. And we wanted to prevent them from essentially from me passing the gene along. As you've heard from all the stories tonight, it's a terrible thing, and we really just couldn't stand the idea of not protecting them. So, a few years later, we're in a hospital room. We're holding a newborn baby boy. We're excited. We're nervous. What do you do? We have no clue. So how did we get here? Well, at one point in our journey, we decided we were going to try and adopt. So we essentially put together a dating profile, an adoption profile. An expectant mother picked us. We texted with her for months. We got the call that she was in labor. We were in the delivery room with her. She asked if we wanted to cut the cord. We were like, I guess so, sure. So we cut the cord, and there we were, Mobile, Alabama, holding this newborn baby boy. And a nurse walks in and she says, the birth mother would like to spend some time with him. And we said, sure, of course. And then we never saw him again. She'd hidden the pregnancy from her family. And when they found out, they decided to come to the hospital straight away, and they fought very hard to keep the baby. And they convinced her to hang on to him and to make him part of their family. And of course, we don't begrudge her that. I mean, we obviously wish the best for her, but we were just very disappointed. We were devastated. I remember driving back from the hospital to my in-laws' house and just kind of crying, just sitting there thinking, how, the years that we'd been trying, and for us to get so close and have this just snatched away from us felt just cosmically unfair. I mean, what else had we tried? We started off with IVF. With IVF, they can screen out HD positive embryos and only implant the HD negative ones. So it was, unfortunately, we weren't a good candidate for that, and it was too expensive to pay for it out of pocket, so we moved on. We tried a sperm donor. The only thing that ever came of that was we had a nice chemical pregnancy, a couple of positive pregnancy tests, and that was that. You can conceive naturally and test the fetus in the womb and then make a decision whether you want to keep going or not. And so we tried that the first time. We did the CVS test to learn the baby's status, and it caused a miscarriage. The second time, it was successful. The test worked. We found out, but we found out some bad news, the worst news. It was HD, and we decided that we'd come so far, and it was agonizing and difficult and painful, but we decided that we did not want to bring a child into the world that had the gene. So after all this, we decided to give it one more shot. We're sitting in the ultrasound, the very first wellness visit, and the tech looks it over to us and smiles and just very, very happy and says, guess what? You're having twins. And I feel this pit start forming in my stomach. My whole body just goes rigid. I look over and I see tears in Jesse's eyes. I mean, we're sitting there trying to figure out, okay, how does this work? Can we really go through with stopping 2 gene positive pregnancies? What happens with if there's one of each? How does that work? I have no idea. What happens if they're both negative? I mean, even in the best of scenarios, now we're taking care of 2 twins. That's pretty terrifying. But we did figure it out. They can test them individually. And we found out that one was gene positive and one was gene negative. And a few months later, little tiny, less than 5 pounds, baby boy, Harry, popped out, and we were just on cloud 9. It was after years and years of trying, I think at that point, 4 or 5. And he's 2.5 now. He loves dinosaurs. He loves trucks. He has curly hair that we think he inherited from my mom. We got another shot at IVF when Jesse got a job that offered fertility benefits. We didn't have to pay out of pocket. It was kind of miraculous, actually. So after 2 rounds of IVF, second embryo implanted, we got another one. Well, we got one to stick. And she's 6 months old now, and just the happiest, smiliest little baby. One story that sticks out to me is last year for Mother's Day, we got the opportunity to visit my mother. She was in a nursing home by this point. She'd never seen Harry face to face. And we got the opportunity to introduce them, and we got the opportunity to tell her that our daughter, she was, Jessie was pregnant at the time, was going to be named after her. She was going to have the same middle name. And my mom just, the expressions and of joy on her face, I will never forget. And it's the unfortunately, a few weeks later, my mother passed away. It almost felt like she was waiting a little bit for that opportunity to meet her two grandchildren. And it's a moment I simply will never forget.